up to the the border between to Dong Ha, which is on the border between North and South Vietnam. And this train went up in the morning, came back in the afternoon with one train, a single train. And now the train was loaded with reporters. And keep in mind, you got to keep the picture in mind that there's just one train. It goes up in the morning and comes back in the afternoon. About 2 o'clock, I get a call from my boss, who's the Corps Artillery commander. Get over here. Well, when he says something like that, I know I'm in trouble. Get over there, and what had happened is this train that goes, the only train up there, hit one of my trucks. And anyway, he was pretending to rip me up one side and the other down, and I finally figured out he was really having fun with me because, you know, I had a little control over that. But if it's hard to visualize. If you've seen the old cartoon in the where you're out in the desert, there's one car coming this way and there's only two cars out there that hit each other. That's exactly what it was. But I knew exactly what had happened.
It happened to me in the Dominican Republic. I can tell you about it. That's okay.
But you know how GIs are. They are. But I know exactly what happened. Nobody ever told me this, but they saw that train coming, and they tried to time it so they just missed it as it. And no, they didn't miss it.
Okay.
And then 2 hours after the train hit, the guys had taken the engine, because we needed parts all the time. They had to take the engine out of the truck and was gone with it. I'll always believe it. Nothing more resourceful than a GI when given the right conditions. There's nothing they can't do. Or won't do. But that got written up in the Stars and Stripes, by the way, that whole incident.
Did you get into Saigon?
Just when I arrived and when I left.
Oh, Tan Son Nhut. You landed in Tan Son Nhut.
Long Binh.
Long Binh? Oh, Long Binh.
Yeah. That's where we landed. I didn't get into Saigon. And then I got.
Okay. And after doing your time in Vietnam, did you do 2 tours or 1 tour? One tour. And leaving Vietnam, where did you come?
To the Pentagon.
Went to the Pentagon. Okay. And how long were you at the Pentagon?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. How did you find the duty there at the Pentagon?
Again, a great assignment. My whole career is divided between troop duty and research and development because of that advanced degree that I got. And so my first assignment there was in the Office of Chief of Research and Development. Spent 2 years there doing that, and then I was fortunate enough to be assigned as one of the military assistants to the Undersecretary of the Army as a result of that. So I stayed there for 2 years with him, and great experience. Both of them were. With the OCRD, Office of Chief of Research and Development, my job was I was responsible for surface artillery. And I was the one who answered questions from the Congress concerning the development and procurement of artillery, surface artillery. And so we was, we're running out of time.
Oh.
But anyway, I had several interesting experiences, one of which was there was a NATO panel, and this panel, their job was to try to coordinate and commonize the weapons, artillery weapons, tanks, and so forth, throughout NATO countries. And every 3 months we met in Brussels, Belgium, and I had the responsibility of taking a team of artillery experts, ballisticians, and others over there for a meeting, and it was like a little United Nations. We sit around the table and we had interpreters, and we'd share issues for artillery, for my case, but for others they did other things. But it's quite a good experience to work with various officers of NATO countries.
About the interchangeability of ammunition.
We dealt with that and tried to promote interchangeability of weapons systems themselves. It was a slow and arduous process, particularly with some countries. The French were very difficult to deal with. But I met some wonderful people and maintained kind of contact with several of them, particularly a Norwegian officer. I was just reading a letter the other night that I got from him. But it was a good time. Every 3 months I'd go over for that when I was at OCRD. Then I was assigned to, as I said, to be one of the military assistants to the Undersecretary of the Army. That was another good assignment. In that assignment, I did many things, working with a protocol for that office. There were three military assistants at the time I was there. It was four military assistants, and worked for a guy named Ken Ballou, who was Undersecretary of the Army at the time. And I traveled with him. I wrote speeches for him, whatever needed to be done. Went to great opportunity to travel. Went to Berlin and Hawaii and Korea, places like that with him.
How did you travel into Berlin?
We flew in.
Oh, you flew in, okay. Because of your clearance, I guess you couldn't go by vehicle or by train. You had to fly in, or.
Well, I don't know what the problem was for everyday type travel, but since I was with the Undersecretary, we just
fly right in.
Yeah.
That's quite an experience at Berlin, I imagine.
It was. It was quite an experience. Very modern city. I expected it to be, but it was much more than I expected it to be.
Really rebuilt.
Yeah.
Quite well. Okay, and after your family was with you, of course, when you were there
in Germany.
In Germany and in Washington.
In Washington, right.
Washington. Could you give the names of your children and your wife?
A son, Mark, a daughter, Kim, and a daughter, Jennifer.
Okay. And your wife's name? My
first wife was Lillian.
Okay.
She died, and we were there at Fort Sill in 1975, and then I remarried in 1979. My current wife is Mildred.
Okay. Okay, and after leaving your assignment in Washington, then where did you travel? Well, what was your next assignment?
The next assignment was Fort Sill, back to Fort Sill. I was chief of studies for the artillery school there. And then I left there. That's where Lillian died, as a matter of fact, my first wife. And then when she died, I still had youngsters at home, and I decided I couldn't travel and chase around the world with them, so I decided I'd retire. I really had not planned to retire until she died, but I did decide. So I asked for assignment to Tank Automotive Command here, because I had a lot of family here, and so they graciously allowed me to come here, and I retired a year later.
When you were at Fort Sill, were you on the platform, or you were actually writing studies and things?
Yeah, we were writing studies, and my people, the guys that worked for me, were doing that kind of thing, and doing the artillery leg of whatever major study was going on. We had an artillery input, and also we were testing some certain new weapons, new concepts, and things like that.
So you had to go to the field too?
No.
Never went to the field?
Never went to the field, no.
Okay. And then you came from there, I'm sure you traveled by air, by...
No, we drove from there to here
okay, with the family.
In 1975, and stayed at TACOM for a year and retired in June of 1976.
What was your assignment at TACOM?
I was Weapons Systems Management Director.
And who was commanding general out there at the time?
When I first got there, it was, I think for the whole 2 years, for the whole year, McKee.
McKee, okay.
McKee, yeah.
Lawless was not there?
No.
Oh, okay.
But there were other people.
Commanders, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you decided to retire?
And I retired.
Okay. So, and then you're right in this area now?
I retired and started job hunting, and a month later, I went to work for General Motors.
What division of General Motors?
I was with Chevrolet initially,